Brahma says, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Describes, people think that I am the creator, but the supreme personality of Godhead is Sri Krishna. He is the cause of all causes. Even I come from him. Lord Shiva, who is the destroyer of everything, as Rudra, he says, Aradhananam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam Param. Of all forms of worship, this worship to Sri Krishna or Vishnu is topmost because he is Supreme Lord. And Krishna, he mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, Matta parataram nanyat kinjidasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva. Brahma says Krishna is God, Lord Shiva says Krishna is God, Indra says Krishna is God, Varuna says Krishna is God, Agni says Krishna is God, and Krishna says, yes, I am God.
My dear brother, when Brahma says Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha, that means Ishvara is Krishna, Krishna is Ishvara, he is Satchidananda Vigraha. But when he says this, does he really mean Ishvara, that Krishna is different from himself? Another question, when Shiva says Aradhananang Sarveshang Vishnu Aradhanang Param, that means amongst all the worships, the worship of Vishnu is topmost. But here when he says this, does he really mean Shiva himself is different from Vishnu? I am asking this question because in another scripture, Shiva says, Moyeva sakalang jatang moi sarvang pratishtitam moi sarvang layang yati tad brahma dvayam asmaham. That means everything is created from me, everything is sustained in me, and everything is merged in me. So after destruction, he says everything is merged in me. That means I am that Ishvara, I am that supreme entity. Now Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, Yato junini bhutani sarvani iti upadharayo aham kritasnasya jagato prabhavo pralayastata. That means whatever living beings we find in the universe and the whole world is created from me and he is merged in me. Therefore, we see that, we know that Brahma is the creator of the universe, Vishnu is the sustainer of the universe, and Shiva is the destroyer of the universe. But here Krishna says, everything is created from me. That means Krishna says, I am Brahma. And he says, everything is sustained in me. That means I am Vishnu. And again he says, everything is merged in me after destruction. That means I am Maheshwara, I am Shiva. And in another scripture, Shiva says, Moyeva sakalang jatang moi sarvang pratishtitam moi sarvang layang jati tad brahma dvayam asmaham. That means everything is created from me. Shiva says everything is created from me. Everything is sustained in me. That means Shiva says I am Brahma because everything is created from me. Again Shiva says Moyeva sakalang jatang moi sarvang pratishtitam moi sarvang pratishtitam. That means everything is sustained in me. That means I am Vishnu. And moi sarvang layang yati. That means everything is merged in me after destruction. That means I am Maheshwara, I am Shiva. That means Krishna also says I am Brahma, I am Vishnu, I am Maheshwara. Shiva also says I am Brahma, I am Vishnu, and I am Maheshwara. Now Krishna in Bhagavad Gita in another sloka he says, Bhoktarang jagatapasang sarvaloka maheshwaram suridang sarvabhutanang gyattamang shantim richhati. That means I am the enjoyer of Jagga and Tapasya and Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. I am the supreme entity. Now Maheshwar also means Shiva. Krishna says, I am Maheshwar. That means Krishna says, I am Shiva. And here Krishna says, I am Shiva. And you, being a devotee of Krishna, say that Krishna is different from Shiva. So how it can be true? Now Krishna in another sloka in Bhagavad Gita says, Aham sarvasya prabhava matta sarva pravartate. That means I am creator of everything and everything is created from me. That means Krishna says I am Brahma. So what do all the things mean? Here these things mean that Brahma, Shiva and Vishnu are the different forms and names of the same supreme entity. They are not different from each other. They are actually different forms of the same entity. So we cannot differentiate them. We cannot say Brahma is Lord, Shiva and Vishnu are not supreme entity, or we cannot say Vishnu or Krishna is the only Lord, Shiva and Brahma are not the supreme entity. Now if we say Brahma is superior most, or Vishnu is superior most, or Shiva is superior most, it will be erroneous actually. They are actually the different forms of the same supreme entity. So if they are different forms of the same supreme entity, which form or name should we worship? This is a great question. Now in order to answer this question, I will tell you one story. That is, once upon a time, Narada, the great devotee of Narayana, met Hanumana, that was devotee of Rama. Hanumana was chanting the name of Rama, 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 and meditating. Then Narada asked Hanumana, Oh Hanuman, I know you are a great devotee of Rama, but you know Rama and Narayana are the same supreme entity. So why do you always chant the name of Rama and never chant the name of Narayana? So you should sometimes chant the name of Narayana also, because they are the same supreme entity. They are the different names of the same supreme entity. But Hanumana answered, Srinathe Janakinathe Chabedo Paramatmani Tathapi Mama Sarvasya Ramo Kamalolochana. Here Hanumana says, I know Rama and Narayana are the same supreme entity, but my everything is Rama. I will always worship Rama and no one else, because Rama is my Ishta. So here the concept of Ishta comes. Ishta means the form of God, the form of supreme entity and the name of supreme entity, which a particular devotee always worships. Now that Ishta is the only God for a devotee and none else. The question arises, who can be a devotee's Ishta? Here the answer is, a devotee's Ishta can be any form of God like Vishnu, Ram, Krishna or Shiva, or any enlightened person like Guru. A sloka says, Shiva rushte gurustrata, Guru rushte na kaschan. That means if Lord Shiva is angry with you, Guru will protect you. But if Guru is angry with you, no one will protect you. That means your Ishta, your Guru, is more important than Shiva. That means for a devotee, only the Ishta is God and no one else. That's why a devotee should worship only his Ishta and none else. And other forms of God are not important for him. For him, only the Ishta is important. Namaskar.